Welcome to today's deep dive into the text, the sovereign state of mind for absolute success. Okay, let's unpack this. You map out your entire path to success on a Sunday night, right?
Oh, absolutely. We've all been there.
Yeah. But then, by 4 a.m. Monday, your alarm goes off and you just smash the snooze button. And the thing is, you aren't failing because you lack a plan. According to today's source material, you're failing because you aren't drowning.
Right, which is a pretty brutal reality check for chronic planners. The text actually breaks any mission down into four distinct steps. You've got goal, planning, hard work, and success.
Okay.
And it highlights that people usually get trapped right before step three. I mean, you have the map, but taking that first physical step into the hard work phase just feels impossible.
It really does. And the source illustrates this trap with honestly, a wild story about Socrates. So a man comes to him demanding the ultimate formula for success.
Yeah, the river story.
Right. So Socrates tells him to meet at the river. They wade out into the water together. And then suddenly Socrates just grabs the guy by the neck and violently dunks him.
Zero warning.
Literally zero. He holds him underwater until the man is thrashing around, like nearly drowning.
And when Socrates finally lets him up, the guy is obviously furious. But Socrates just calmly asks him, when you were underwater, what did you want?
And he says he just wanted air.
Exactly. That's the lesson. Success requires wanting your goal as desperately as a drowning person wants oxygen.
Sure, but let's be real for a second. That's a powerful metaphor. But how does someone actually force themselves into that state of literal biological desperation for, like, a career pivot or a fitness goal? You can't artificially manufacture the panic of drowning just because you want to finish writing a book.
But, well, what's fascinating here is that is exactly the hidden flaw the text calls out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because after that dramatic river encounter, the man went home just as stuck as before. I mean, Socrates provided the concept, but he offered absolutely no method for getting there. So to bridge that gap between concept and action, the source shifts to Swami Vivekananda.
Ah, right. Vivekananda's method is basically total immersion. You adopt one massive goal, make it your life's work, and you let every single brain cell, muscle, and nerve just be filled with that single idea.
While aggressively ignoring everything else.
Yes, exactly.
So Vivekananda gives us this Eastern philosophical goal of total immersion. But to see the practical, almost dark reality of this psychological mechanism in action, the text actually turns to Western literature, specifically Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment.
Here's where it gets really interesting, because wait, we're jumping from a Hindu monk to a 19th century Russian psychological thriller.
We are, yeah. Because Dostoevsky perfectly illustrates the mechanism of total immersion. The text uses the novel to show that if you concentrate deeply on a single thought for a prolonged period, it inevitably forces that thought to manifest into physical action.
So the obsessive thought eventually just demands the physical movement.
Exactly.
Okay, I would push back there. How does that actually work? If I just sit on my couch, obsessing over my goal, how does that magically become physical action? I mean, mind to muscle sounds great on paper, but what is the actual psychology driving that?
Think of it as mental rehearsal wiring your neural pathways. When you obsess over a single idea, your brain's reticular activating system starts filtering the world completely differently.
Right.
You stop seeing distractions and you only see stepping stones. You've mentally rehearsed the action so many times that your neural pathways literally prime your muscles to move. It's no longer a conscious choice. It becomes a reflex.
Oh, wow. It's like the ideomotor effect. Like if you're holding a heavy pendulum on a string.
Yes. Spot on.
If you just stare at it and visualize it swinging left to right, your hand makes these microscopic involuntary muscle movements until the pendulum actually starts swinging. The thought literally becomes physical.
Exactly. The thought primes the body. Now, obviously, we aren't talking about committing a 19th century crime here.
No, please don't do that.
And you don't need to hold your head underwater in the bathtub either. But the underlying psychology scales perfectly down to that 4 a.m. alarm.
So what does this all mean? Basically, if you want to stop hitting snooze, true execution doesn't come from a perfectly color-coded planner.
Not at all.
It comes from cultivating such an obsessive singular focus that your brain involuntarily primes your body to act. You have to wire your nervous system so completely to the goal that not acting on it feels like suffocating.
Which leaves you with a critical question to consider today. If deep, prolonged thoughts inevitably prime your physical reflexes, what thoughts are you allowing to marinate in your mind right now?
That is a great question.
And what actions are they quietly preparing you for the moment you finally come up for air?